Hello everyone, my name is B and welcome back to In My Opinion, where we discuss current events in layman's terms because knowledge is power. And you will soon find out that I have an opinion about everything. Today we have a lot to go over, so I'm going to try to be very specific, very quick, and very precise so we can get through it all because there's a lot of information to take in. And I know that sometimes people are not big fans of the news, which is why I try to do a quick synopsis of what's going on in the world here for you guys. I appreciate all of the support that I've had so far. You have no idea. Thank you again so much. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, please share. Texas has had a winter storm that they were not prepared for. Vice President Kamala Harris fumbles when asked questions about schools reopening, and Biden holds a town hall and drops some bombshells and some gems. So let's get right into it. So right now, Texas is in major crisis mode. 2.5 million people have no power. 24 people so far have died. There are freezing conditions. I actually spoke with some family members that I have there. They were out power for the longest. They have small children. It is going down in Texas right now, you guys. And luckily, Biden has issued a statement saying that help is on the way, FEMA is on the way, and it is a state of emergency. People are pointing fingers over who's to blame, all but themselves, of course, our lovely Republicans. And there's no resolve as of yet. People are getting sick from carbon monoxide from sitting in their cars, in their garages. It's just like a movie. Like 2021, you starting to show off a little bit. Okay, we're gonna watch a quick clip from CBS and we're going to look at exactly what is going on in Texas.
In Texas, it's a full-on humanitarian crisis.
This is worse than Harvey, and we lost everything.
Some desperate families using outdoor grills inside and running cars in garages to stay warm. Those choices contributing to at least 300 cases of carbon monoxide poisoning in Houston's Harris County, according to the Houston Chronicle.
There we go, and now we got to deal with this.
This man, now homeless, after 7 townhomes went up in flames southwest of Dallas during rolling blackouts.
Pretty short on supplies, especially water right now.
With temperatures below freezing, an hour-long wait just to get into this grocery store. Inside, some shelves bare.
Meanwhile, Senator Ted Cruz is on his way to an island to have maites and ceviche. Really? It's super sad. It's still just a scary experience that they're in a state of emergency. So I also have a couple clips from TikTok of live footage of what's happening, and I want you guys to take a look at that. So let's watch that too.
Yeah, that bitch is dead.
Wow. Fish tank frozen.
The house is flooded, the roof collapsed. There's no power. Oh my god. It's awful. It's been 40 hours, no power. It's
40
freezing.
hours.
It hasn't snowed here since 1973. Our hot tub and pool, literally frozen. It's
Straight craziness, right? And then to add insult to injury, you have the Texas mayor of Colorado City saying insensitive messages in the time people are losing their lives. I think they said the death toll now is up to 40. And he says, only the strong will survive and the weak will perish. No one owes your family anything. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The great red state of Texas, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So now on to a topic that I could not wait to get to. Like, I was watching this and researching this, like, well, I can't wait to tell these In My Opinion followers what is going on. So I love Kamala. I'm proud of her. I'm proud to have a woman of color in office. But Kamala, you fumbled in this question, baby. And I was glued to my seat because I really was a parent that wanted to know the answer. As so many schools have the audacity to open up across the country This is how she responded to it.
The CDC a few days ago finally put out some long-awaited guidance on how schools could safely reopen. But here's the thing. They tied it directly to the rate of infection in any given community. And I'm going to put a map up, because if schools were to follow that right now, 90% of the counties, 90% of the schools would not be able to open under the CDC's own metric. Was it a mistake for the CDC to connect school reopening to how much infection there is in a community?
Well, let's first say this, that in the last 4 weeks, schools are opening every week. More schools are opening. And it is because we are supplementing what needs to happen around the vaccinations, getting into states, but also because we're seeing progress. When folks are wearing masks, when they're getting vaccinated, when they're social distancing, we're seeing progress there. But we all want the schools to reopen, Savannah. All of us who have children in our lives, they want to go back to school. We want them to go back to school. Teachers want to teach.
But what about that CDC guidance then? That's the question, because the CDC is saying essentially their best guidance is don't open if you're in a red zone. 90% of students are in a red zone. And the science is very clear. The CDC's own science says schools are not a source of community risk.
Well, so here's the thing. What the CDC, what they have recommended are exactly that, recommendations about how to reopen safely if they've been closed, how to stay open if they've been opened. And so the recommendations include what again needs to happen around social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing. But the point is that we all want our kids to get back to school as quickly as possible and as safely as possible.
There has been a shifting timeline here. Back on December 8th, the then President-elect tweeted, we want to reopen the majority of schools in the first 100 days. He later said that day, we want to have most schools open. Now he said, as recently as last night, he's talking about the majority of K through 8 schools. Last week we heard a White House official saying open could mean just 1 day a week open. The president said, no, that was a miscommunication. But I mean, I guess, look, again, parents watching, what is the bottom line? What does it need for schools to be reopened, and how soon can they be reopened?
So our goal is that as many K through 8 schools as possible will reopen within the first 100 days. Our goal is that they will be 5 days a week, and so we have to work to achieve that goal. But our goal is the goal of parents. And I mean, here's the thing, Savannah, I don't need to tell you. We are the issue here is not just about statistics. It's about our kids. It's about their parents. It's about the fact that every day our kids are missing essential, critical days in their educational development. We know, we have worked on this issue for years around the fact that, by the end of 3rd grade, if a child is not at 3rd grade reading level, they literally drop off. So each day in the life of a child is a very long time.
Absolutely.
And that's why, we've got to collectively do everything in our power to reopen our schools as quickly as possible and as safely as possible.
A lot of public health officials will say this closing schools is as much of a public health crisis for all the reasons you mentioned. A final point on this before we move on. The CDC has said it is not a prerequisite for teachers to be vaccinated for them to go back to school. But many teachers are wary of going back to school. And we've had some cities have to sue the teachers union or sue their own school districts to try to get these schools to reopen. Can you reassure teachers who are listening right now that it is safe for them to go back to school even if they are not vaccinated, if these public health measures like distancing and masks are being implemented?
So first of all, let me just say this, and the president has said it, and we're all really clear. Teachers should be priority. Teachers should be a priority. Look, let me just tell you something. I love teachers. My first grade teacher, Mrs. Frances Wilson, attended my law school graduation. Teachers are critical to our children's development. They should be able to teach at a safe place and expand the minds and the opportunities of our children. So teachers should be a priority along with other frontline workers, and we're going to make them a priority. I believe that up to 22 states, have prioritized teachers in terms of vaccinations.
But if they're not vaccinated, is it safe for them?
Well, I think that we have to decide if we can put in place safe measures. This is why, and it's so important, we pass the American Rescue Plan.
You guys, Kamala, as you saw, was fumbling. She was struggling. Savannah was giving her the business because Savannah is a mother, and so she's not even playing her. She's like, no bullshit. Like, let's just get straight to the point. And I'm right there with her. What are the facts? Which one is it? Because you guys keep saying CDC, CDC. Well, the CDC is showing that 90% of schools do not need to reopen because the map is full of red, as you can see. So what are we really doing here? And I also want to show a quick clip of Biden and how he kind of backtracks as well. As you all are the leaders of our country, I don't feel safe as a parent with the way that they're handling the situation. I feel they should step up. They should tell people to shut down the schools until the fall. I understand that kids are falling behind, and that's unfortunate, as I've said before, but the reality is I'd rather my child be alive than be behind in school.
Organizing in smaller pods, which means that's why we need more teachers. Instead of a classroom of 30 kids in it, you have 3 classes in that same of 10 kids.
So then where is the all call for teachers? I haven't heard anything about them asking for more support for teachers. I haven't heard anything about them making classroom sizes smaller in anywhere in America. Like what? It's like you just talking out of his neck, which I'm very disappointed to even hear that from him.
Each in those, I'm making the number up, right? Less, doesn't have to be literally 10. In addition to that, we also have indicated that it is much better, it's much easier to send kids K through 8 back because they are less likely to communicate the disease to somebody else. But because kids in sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school, they socialize a lot more and they're older and they transmit more than young kids do, it's harder to get those schools open without having everything from the ventilation systems and
I want to know who came up with the rationale that sending children K through 8 was smarter than sending back the older kids who are almost about to graduate and be adults in the real world who should know how to keep a mask on. Bottom line, K through 12, they're all kids. They don't need to go back. Kids are going to be swapping masks and hugging and loving on each other because they miss each other. And you got one teacher, 20-something kids or whatever the numbers are in your specific state. Again, like I said before, there's going to be fatalities. We're going to lose lives at the cost of rushing reopening. We just got these shots. Why is everybody so excited to send all these babies back? Can we give the process a moment to settle in? Like, teachers aren't even vaccinated and they're saying, yeah, they can go back without being vaccinated. No, they can't go back without being vaccinated. The states are suing teachers' unions and all types of crazy stuff because people are trying to save their own lives. Again, you're asking us to choose between our own lives and our livelihood. And that is completely inhumane. President Biden, Vice President Harris, you guys need to step up and shut it all down. It's too much confusion. Don't leave it up to the states. It needs to be clear and concise when dealing with these kids. And really, Biden, what happened to you saying you wanted to open safely? I literally trusted you. Let's go back and take a look at some of the clips where he said he wanted us to really open safely. Let me remind you guys.
Everyone wants our schools to be open. The question is how to make it safe, how to make it stick. Forcing education and students back into a classroom in areas where the infection rate is going up or remaining very high is just plain dangerous.
Teachers are tough. We're right there with our students for all of their ups and downs. We pick them up when they fall. But it's wrong to endanger educators and students. We need a better plan.
You know, it has to start by getting cases down in our communities. That's step one. It means wearing a mask.
Schools and parents alike want a clear, science-based strategy, not mixed messages and ultimatums. We're all asking, how low should the infection rate be to reopen? How big should class sizes be? And if we can't accommodate everyone, which students should be brought back first? But instead of answers, we've been left to improvise.
reopen.
I love you so much, President Biden. And I love you, First Lady. I do. But I need you guys to remember what it is you told us in July and keep that same energy. Because the majority of us are in that same mind frame that you had agreed with us just in July. Please step in. So Joe Biden went to Milwaukee to hold a town hall where he was interviewed by Anderson Cooper, one of my favorite anchors, and he answered some questions from some people from the audience. Some were Republican, some were Democrats, and I was pleased with the majority of the town hall, but there were parts that I was really disappointed again. So we're gonna watch and take a look at those clips. So one of the questions that somebody asked President Biden, when do we think things will be kind of back to normal? Like, well, almost back to normal. And he said that he didn't want to, put the pressure on himself of guessing, but he's since saying perhaps around next Christmas, we should have some sort of normalcy. He's saying by July, we should have enough vaccines to vaccinate the entire country. So let's take a listen.
Let me ask you, just for folks who are watching out there, there are a lot of people who are scared, and there's a lot of people who are hurting. When do you think this pandemic is, when's it going to be done? When are we going to get back to normal?
Well, all the experts, all the committee that I put together, the leading researchers in the world, in the United States, are on this committee of mine, headed by Dr. Fauci and others. They tell me, be careful not to predict things that you don't know for certain what's going to happen, because then you'll be held accountable. I get that. But let me tell you what I think based on all that I've learned and all that I've studied and all that I think that I know. By next Christmas, I think we'll be in a very different circumstance, God willing, than we are today.
I wanted you guys to hear that so that you can have a little bit of hope, a little bit of an idea as to when he's saying we could possibly be in a different place, a better place, so to speak, with this pandemic. But that's just an update on that. He then answered some questions about racial equality. Now, the person that asked him the question was a Black Trump supporter, and he was saying that he is not in fear of his life necessarily from the police officers, but more or less from the bad neighborhoods. And Biden's answer reminded me why I love him. So let's take a look at that.
This is Danny Evans. He's an independent, voted for Donald Trump in 2020.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Defund the police is discussed as an option for reforming policing. However, there are communities where people live in fear, not of the police, but in fear of the violent gangs who commit crimes in those neighborhoods. How can we be sure that we don't over-legislate police officers so that they can't do their job to protect the law-abiding citizens who live in these high-crime neighborhoods, and yet train officers to police with compassion?
By number one, not defunding the police. We have to put more money in police work. So we have legitimate community policing, and we're in a situation where we change the legislation. No one should go to jail for a drug offense. No one should go to jail for the use of a drug. They should go to drug rehabilitation. Drug rehabilitation, number one. We should be in a position where we change the system of sentencing system to one that relates to a notion related to making sure that what you do is you focus on making sure that there's rehabilitation. The idea that we don't have people in prison systems learning how to be spending money, learning how to be mechanics, learning how to be cooks, learning how to have a profession when you get out. The idea that we deny someone who served their time access to Pell Grants, access to housing, access to, right now, as you well know, most places you get out of prison, you get $25 on a bus ticket. You end up back under the bridge exactly where you were before.
So as you all will learn, criminal reform is very important to me. My major is criminal justice. And the way that the criminal justice system has worked has been the new Jim Crow. It's been a way for them to lock up minorities in droves and put us in positions that they know that we cannot get out of, put us under financial strains unnecessarily. And I will do a segment on criminal reform because it's so near and dear to my heart. But I am very appreciative that he spoke his piece and he answered very correctly, because the reality is, what are we doing for rehabilitation? Are we considering where these people are growing up and how they're growing up and what they're exposed to? I mean, because there's black on black crime, yes. There's Hispanic on Hispanic crime, there's Asian on Asian crime, and there's white on white crime. So I hate when people continuously say, black on black crime, that's a cop-out. We can go for days and go deeper and deeper into why, as I just said in my last episode, you guys put us in these cages and expect for us not to act as if we're animalistic. I can't say what I want to say, but like, stop the bullshit. Like, let's just keep it a stack. Truth be told, rehabilitation needs to happen. Criminal reform needs to happen. Stop pointing the finger and saying black on black crime. It's crime in every race. Okay, so the bombshell that President Biden drops, I don't even want to announce it. I just want you guys to listen to it because it was like kind of mouth dropping for me. So I'm gonna let you guys watch, see what you guys think, and then I will react to it.
Student loans are crushing my family, friends, and fellow Americans.
Me too.
The American dream is to succeed, but how can we fulfill that dream when debt is many people's only option for a degree? We need student loan forgiveness beyond the potential $10,000 your administration has proposed. We need at least a $50,000 minimum. What will you do to make that happen?
I will not make that happen. It depends on whether or not you go to a private university or public university. And the thing I do in terms of student debt that's accumulated is provide for changing the existing system now for debt forgiveness if you engage in volunteer activity. For example, if you're teaching school, after 5 years you would have $50,000 of your debt forgiven. If you worked in a battered women's shelter, each of my children graduated from school. I mortgaged the house. I was listed as the poorest man in Congress for, not a joke, for over 30 years. And
Mr. President, it is highly insensitive of you to make a joke about how your kids have student loans as well when you are the president of the United States and you are indeed very wealthy than the majority of the minority families and people that are in debt because of their student loans. So why not support the Democrats and forgive the $50,000 in student loans? You're not explaining it in a way that makes sense to us. And then for you to react in such a quick way and say, I will not, like it was no big deal. We're appreciative of the $10,000, but majority of the debt that the Americans are suffering from is student loan debt. It's an easy fix, and I am extremely disappointed at how he's handling it. He gave a hard no, and that really sucks. So I'm hoping, and I'll be hopeful that he changes his mind, but as of right now, that man is not budging. Like he said, nope, like I will not. And lastly, California and Maryland said, we are gonna move on without you, and we are not looking back. So they've already began relief plans. So far, the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, signed a COVID Relief Act for $1.1 billion to families and small businesses. Maryland's comptroller, Peter, says that February 16th is when payments should start to go out, and that 98% of the check should be going out by February 19th, 2021. So in Maryland, you will receive a one-time direct payment of $500 for families and $250 to low or moderate income residents. Starting from $15,820 for people who are not married, and for couples, it will be $27,710 with no children, all the way up to the range of $50,954 for individuals and $56,844 for married couples with up to 3 children. That is the qualifying factor for receiving those checks. This relief plan would also eliminate people paying state and local income tax for unemployment benefits. Small businesses can keep their sales tax for up to 3 months and up to $3,000 per month. Businesses that receive state pandemic assistance, including grants and forgiveness loans, would be exempt from paying state taxes on that money. So I got that information from the Baltimore Sun. Of course, you guys know I'll put that in the description. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom says that the Democratic legislative leaders have come to a deal of a $600 aid to low-income Californians and grants to small businesses. To qualify for the relief, California residents need to have applied for an income tax credit on the 2020 tax returns, and the people who filed and earned less than $30,000 last year are also eligible for that credit. Also, the recipients of SSI or cash assistance, as well as undocumented immigrants who reside in a household that makes under $75,000. They are too eligible for that relief. Thank you guys so much. I know we went through a lot of information today. I appreciate you being attentive. Again, it's important that we're aware of what's going on in the world. Thank you guys so much for watching In My Opinion with me tonight. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for your encouraging words. I'm so amped up and I'm so ready to give you guys the best information that I can to have the best conversations possible for the people. Please remember to wear your mask over your nose, remain safe, stay in the house not only because it's COVID, but it's snowing. And remember, the world is small. Do not let little walls cage you in. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share. And you guys have a great evening. Thank you so much again.